Say. Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful that you can join us for another week. And we're excited today. We have Lora Cheadle on with us. She is an author, TEDx speaker, and leadership wellness coach who specializes in burnout and betrayal recovery. She's the author of It's Not Burnout, It's Betrayal, 5 Tools to Fuel Up and Thrive, the award-winning book Flaunt, Drop Your Cover and Reveal Your Smart, Sexy, Spiritual Self, and hosts the top-rated podcast Flaunt, Create a Life You Love After Infidelity or Betrayal. So welcome, Lora. We're super excited to have you on the podcast with us today.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here and to have this conversation.
So can you tell us a little bit about like how you got started and how your books came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. This was something that I never necessarily ever planned on doing. I started off as a corporate attorney. I burned out. And as I started burning out, I started pursuing spirituality, growth, all of that stuff. I really dove deep into energy work. I went back to school, became a clinical hypnotherapist. I just thought this is what's going to do the shift for me, is kind of becoming spiritual. And then when I went onto that path, it was like, oh, well, I'm good now, right? Nothing bad can happen to me because I meditate, I do yoga, I have my crystals, like everything is going to be great now. Well, that's when I found out that my husband had been cheating on me for 15 years.
Oh my
Whoa, my
gosh.
God.
Oh, yeah. And my world came crashing down. I mean, for all the obvious reasons, but also because I thought, how could this happen to me? Because if you're good and you're trying and you're kind, how can that happen to me? So that's how I kind of ended up in this space, is dealing with my own recovery, having to move through all sorts of illusion, having to really learn that discernment and that trust for myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a
Oh,
big
yeah.
one to come back from that. The trust issues in itself is huge. So good for you.
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. It was harder than I realized. It's one of those things that sometimes, you hear about it and you think, yeah, that would be really tough. And then you get there and you're so shattered. Your identity is shattered, your history, your past, like the future you thought you were planning. It's all gone. And it really makes you think, who am I? And what is this about? And why do bad things happen to good people? And if I'm living in a world like that, I don't even know if I want to be in this world, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you find your way back from something like that, right? Because like you say,
Yes.
it strips down your identity to be like, who am I and where do I even want to head in this world now?
True. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to live through it to actually understand it too, right? In order to
Yes.
help people because you've gone through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was that big shift for me. And I didn't just make it overnight. It was something that had to kind of come in like, okay, if all things are a lesson, if all things are for my highest good, what do I get to do with this? And what can I make of this? And who can I become because of it? And, the forgiveness piece, and how do I set myself free and forgive while at the same time not condoning that behavior? There's so many different questions that I had to grapple with, and it was hard.
Mhm.
Yes. It's definitely hard.
And I mean, forgiveness is a lot about freeing ourselves and not, right? It actually
Yes.
really doesn't have a lot to do with that other person. It's about really freeing ourselves. But that's a hard concept to think about because when we say that, we feel like, oh, I'm forgiving them. It's okay what they did. And so you're exactly right. You're not condoning that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And in my case, this might be a big shocker, but my husband and I ended up reconciling. And this ended up being a really powerfully good experience for both of us because he started dealing with his unaddressed trauma. I started dealing with my tendency to be a people pleaser and a perfectionist. So we came back together. But still on that forgiveness piece, there were times where it would be like, well, I don't want to let him see how happy I am now. I don't want to let him see how this has been such a positive for me because you know what I mean? It's like there's this piece of me. Yes, I love him, but I want him to suffer too.
I think that's just human, right?
Yeah, that is
Oh,
human.
it is. Yeah, very human, very human. But dealing with that is challenging.
Yes, it sure is. But good for
Mhm.
you guys. You got back together and reconciled all the differences. But that's very honorable. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely, I think, the more challenging path, but the one that has yielded the greatest benefit, not only for us as individuals, but I think also for the collective.
Yeah. So how did you start, like after the betrayal and after the separation and things like that? How did you start unpacking some of this stuff to be able to shift to, I mean, get on the path that even allowed that chance of reconciling?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I had said earlier, I had done a lot of spiritual work before. So I felt like I had a lot of different tools. I had a lot of different practices. And I felt so bad and nothing was fixing it, but I just kept trying. I would take a walk and I wouldn't really feel better, but I think you're supposed to connect with nature. I'm going to do that.
Right.
And it would help a little bit. And then, okay, I will meditate. I would go to the stores. I would buy different crystals. I would, create grids around my house. I would light candles. I would journal. I just did it all. Even though I didn't feel a significant shift, I trusted the process. I
Right.
trusted that wisdom and I just kept showing up.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's smart. You have to show your strength through it no matter what. You have to, it's find your strength. I guess that's part of it. Once you find that, then it leads you down the path of where you should go. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And like that, I think a lot of us think there's a magic bullet somewhere. We think, I'll do this one thing and it'll change everything.
Uh,
And the truth is, it's not. It's cumulative. And sometimes things help more and sometimes they don't. And you just keep having to keep on. Talk to friends, sit with yourself, ask hard questions, do a lot of different things. And eventually your perspective does start changing and your identity starts shifting because that's a big piece. For me, it was hard to not be the betrayed wife. That happened to me. That was my identity. I parked and stayed there for a while and to shed that layer and to be like, no, I am a radiant, beautiful, powerful being. Yes, that experience happened, but it's not who I am.
Mhm.
right. Good for you. Yes.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing. Like, and I think even once you've been through that, it does change who you are. And you do need to really take a hard look at ourselves and say, who am I and who do I want to be moving
Right.
forward,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes, because it's so easy to live in that default mode. We all do. We get up, we do the same things, we go to bed, we get up and we do the same things again, and pretty soon it's our life. And it really gave me the opportunity to think, who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? How do I want to be in relationship? How do I want to be with myself? What do I want to stand for? What am I done tolerating? And then to create it. And that can feel overwhelming and scary too, because we all talk about personal development and change. Yay. But then when it really comes down to, wow, my identity was shattered and I have to build myself up now, the stakes feel higher and it feels scary.
Yes. And you have to put the negative behind you to bring the positive for the forefront, right? And
Yeah.
that's a tough one too.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, and I
Mhm.
love how you said like what you're not willing to tolerate anymore, right? Because that's, I think, a lesson that we all need in all
Yes.
kinds of areas of our lives. But we do go through the hamster wheel of life, not really thinking about what we are tolerating from people and putting up some boundaries to say, no, that's not acceptable.
Hmm.
Right. Right. And for me and for a lot of people too, it's admitting it to ourselves that's really hard. We might say something in our head like, "Ugh, they were obnoxious when they did this." But then when you can actually say to yourself, I respect myself so much that I will not tolerate that kind of behavior anymore because I don't deserve it. And it comes from a
Exactly.
place of peace and of understanding who you are. And then it's like, okay, now I'm more clear on my boundaries. It's not just, you can't say that to me. It's, this is what I deserve.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
and our needs are important, right? And I think in relationships in general, communication is so important. And when that starts to break down and we're not being true to what we really need and will tolerate, then it breaks everything down, right? And that's, I think, where, there is that indiscretions and things that start happening.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 And just being in alignment with yourself. When my husband and I, part of our journey together through this, he started realizing how his infidelity harmed him. He was doing it against himself.
Yes.
And that, it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. My karma's clean. And he had to come to terms with what he did, not only to me, because in a lot of ways you can't really do something to another person, you're only doing it to yourself.
Right.
And wow, where were his internal boundaries? And then where were my internal boundaries? And it's just all fingers point back to yourself.
Yes, that is so true.
Yes. It
So,
Hmm.
does.
so how does a person like what do you have any tips or tricks for people that are looking for a way to start finding out how do you become aligned with yourself and what your true heart is saying?
Yeah. I think first is understand that it's a process. It's a process of inquiry and it changes. Sometimes I think we get trapped in that language of like, I will find my authentic self. Well, your authentic self is ever changing. Your authentic self is ever growing. Who I was before this experience and who I am after this experience, I'm different people. We were all different when we were 15. We were different when we were 20. We grow and we change. So finding out who your authentic self is a never-ending beautiful process. For me, I channel, I meditate, and I just find so many different ways, so many different practices of returning to who I am. And how I do that sometimes is by distinguishing where did that belief come from? If I think, oh, I should do this, I challenge myself. Why? Why did somebody say I should do that? Did I see it on Instagram? Like, what is it? What does it mean to be a good mom? Gosh, I'm piecing together the world's idea of what it means to be a good mom. I'm not tuning into myself and finding out what does it mean to be a good mom.
Yes.
Just that constant inquiry, that constant balance, because we are products of our environment.
Hmm.
Mhm.
We definitely are.
Well, and there's
Mhm.
so much noise out there with like social media and the news and just people in general talking about their lives. And you're exactly right when you say like it does impact us. And sometimes we don't even realize that we've, just allowed their energy to come on to us and be like, oh, I guess that's why I'm thinking that. So I love that you say, really getting down and asking yourself those questions of where did this come from?
Yeah. Yeah. Is this my energy or is it somebody else's? Because
Yes.
usually if it's bad, it's negative, it's somebody else's.
Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, I loved where you said that too, is like we define ourselves by the world's view of put whatever label you want to put on it. And, why do we do that? I guess
Right.
that's my question, right? Like, why do we allow ourselves to kind of get sucked into that vortex of being like, this is what the world tells me I should do as a podcast person or a mother or whatever, a wife, and we allow
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't even think to question it, because it's just so ingrained. Be a good little girl, be a good boy, keep daddy happy, make mommy proud. It just becomes who we are. And then we
Yes.
get, I call it labels, roles, and scripts. Girls aren't good at math, boys aren't good at conversation. We just grow up believing these things.
That's right.
And is it really true?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very infrequently.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's a
Mhm.
good thing you talk about that because communication is so important in a relationship and in every other way. So I mean,
Yes.
yeah, men need to step up to the plate too and realize that communication is a big part, particularly for us women, because that's just
Yes.
the way that we are and we like to know what's happening, what's going around. But they should too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Communication, I think, goes hand in hands with the ability to feel our own feelings.
Yes.
And we all struggle to feel our own feelings. It's not fun to feel insecure. It's not fun to feel tired, angry, stressed, frustrated, whatever it is. But just to be able to feel our feelings separate and independent of everybody else. Because technically, like there's three of us here. We could all be feeling something vastly different. We could have anger, frustration, and joy. And we should all be able to feel that fully without impacting anybody else either way.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
about being honest with yourself and sitting in those feelings. Like when you're angry, just being like, I'm angry, and I just got to sit with this for a minute. Where did this come
Yeah.
from? Why am I feeling this way? Is there something I can do to change this? Or do I just need to sit here and just be angry for a minute and
Right.
be okay
Yeah.
with that? And in my case, journal.
Yes.
But I think
Yeah.
too, we have to express ourselves nonetheless,
Yes.
and get that out because if you hold it in, it's not good for us either, right?
Mhm.
We do have to have that expression of the need at the time. Try to hold it down, mind you, so you're not throwing
Yeah.
plates or something. But I mean, you know what I mean? But you still have
Right.
to express it too, so that other person understands why you're feeling that way, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved you used a word, needs. We all have needs. And somewhere along the line, especially for women, there's kind of like this belief that we're really, really good if we don't have needs. And it's like, oh, no, we have needs. It's not your needs or my needs. We all have needs. And yeah, we should be able to communicate those needs, ask for what we want, advocate for what we want. As a former attorney, I'm really big on advocacy. Oftentimes, we don't know how to ask for that. Like you mentioned, anger. If I'm really angry and I need some time alone to go scream in the shower, you know, I need to be able to ask for that. If I need to go put on running shoes and bust up, I'm running up a mountain as fast and as hard as I can, I
Yes.
should be able to ask for that.
Mhm. And so is that something then, as you were reconnecting with your husband, is that something that was something you guys addressed? Is this what are our individual needs and where do we meet? Or how did you kind of start re-putting it back together? Like I know you said you dealt with like your traumas and his traumas and
hmm We had a very different path. Part of it is gender and how we were conditioned. Part of it is also life experience. He had an extremely traumatic, abusive childhood that he completely buried and never addressed. As part of that, he was never in touch with what he was feeling. He said his emotional range, he was either pissed off and angry or he was fine. And those
Right.
were his two emotions. So
Right.
for him, it was first acknowledging, wow, I had a much worse childhood than I've ever admitted to myself. I have a very limited emotional range. I am very uncomfortable with my shame. I am terrified that if I go into anger, it'll never stop. and this is me. So then on the other side, I had a very good, happy childhood. I was great at expressing my emotions, but I was more into I need to co-regulate with somebody else. I need to make sure other people are okay. I need to be the caretaker. It's yay, I'm going to make life happy and good for everybody. So for me, I had to learn it's about me and my experience. And if I do something for somebody else, it's because I truly want to do it. It's not that I'm seeking recognition. If I do something and they don't enjoy it, it's not that I don't get to be disappointed, but I needed to realize I'm doing it for my joy, not to make somebody else happy.
Mhm.
So we each had to kind of deal with that, where I was people pleasing and performing, and where he was not in touch with that grief and trauma and pain.
Yeah.
True. Nice.
So once you stripped those things down and kind of came back into your own selves, then you could start working on the relationship and what that looked like as a path together, as far as, we each have our own needs and here's how we're going to handle them, and we're going to come together and communicate more. And
Yeah.
Yes, communicate more and also communicate less in a weird way, because he had things that are his things that have nothing to do with me. I have things that are my things that have nothing to do with him, and I don't need his permission, and he doesn't need my permission. So having more healthy time together as well as apart. So more boundaries, more identity with ourselves, and just more taking care of ourselves first before we came together in a relationship.
Mhm, that makes sense. So do you think then that as couples, for the most part, we need to have that alone time away from our relationship to kind of foster what our passions are?
I think our primary relationship is the relationship with ourself and the relationship with spirit. And when we're good with ourselves and when we can be solid in any relationship, whether that person is wobbly or not, that's when we can be truly healthy.
Yeah.
And it depends. There's people I had mentioned before the show, I'm really close to my mom. I've always been really close to my mom. We don't tend to have relationship conflicts. We can just be stable with each other. When one of us is a little bit wobbly, yeah, it's okay. But there's other people where they just pull us off balance more.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't pull me off balance the way my husband can pull me off balance. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So it's knowing who I am and when I'm starting to lose myself and being primary with myself before I go into a relationship and taking care of myself so I don't get sucked in and end up becoming somebody that I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's important.
it is.
Very important.
And do you
Yeah.
feel like with being in touch with spirit, do you feel like that's a connect, like that's a relationship too, right? And so that's such a connection. Do you feel like in those moments when you connect with spirit, that's where some of your answers come to you to say, go this route or go that route or pull back a little bit?
Yes. Yes. I channel a group that has identified themselves as the librarians. And what they do is they're kind of in the Akashic realm. And instead of dealing with the individual records, they deal with the collective themes. So if you look at humanity, war is a theme, poverty is a theme, betrayal is a theme. And we're all individually having experiences, and our experiences contribute to the collective understanding around that experience. So for me, when I channel, I tend to go to the librarians. That's where I tend to be. And what they do is they just give me a more global perspective. So it helps me to be like, okay, this is not about he's a jerk or she's not understanding me or anything like that. It's more like, what is really going on here? What
Yeah.
is the big lesson? What is the greater perspective? And it takes me out of it.
Yes.
And then when Laura, little human Laura, is out of it, it's just easier to know what would love do? What would spirit do? What is in the greater good? and then things just don't matter in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you channel then, with like, it seems like life, the world is a little chaotic at the moment. Humanity is a little off balance. So when you channel into the librarians, what do they kind of tell you about how we need to shift our perspective here on Earth?
Hmm. Um, so much to say about that. I feel like we could have like 2 hours on what is going on with the world.
Right?
Oh, could be.
Yes. Yeah,
Cliff
exactly.
note.
Exactly. Cliff Note version is things have been more generalized and diffuse throughout humanity. And now we're getting tighter and tighter, and we're seeing things they're becoming they're coming up stronger and faster and harder. And we're all becoming aware of the same things, where in the past, only certain groups would be aware of certain things. Now we're all seeing the same thing. And that's creating a lot of problems right now because it's quantum physics, it's string theory. We're all saying this is unfair, this is wrong. But
Right.
it's also all of that focus on what's wrong is pushing us towards the tipping point of we are all creating solutions now. Where before this pocket in this country and this organization, it's all focused now.
Yeah. So do you and do the librarians believe that there is hope for humanity, that we will see a better world?
Absolutely. We absolutely will see a better world. The caveat to that, though, we always have free will, and not everybody will choose to move into being the solution. There are some people that are locked into an egoic sense of being, love, blessing, all of that. It's not that they're evil and dark and bad, but they're locked into that sense and they won't choose to move forward.
That's right.
Um, Overall, most people, yes, will be moving into a better place. Overall, yes, it's going to be a much better world. And yet, there will still be people who have free will who choose to do,
Whatever.
yeah, yeah, darker things.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be judgmental, to be mean, to be whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why a lot more people are coming to become, for lack of a
Spiritual.
better word, light workers and spiritual and starting to channel? Because, like, it seems like for a long time we didn't have that connection the same way to channel in these entities, be what they are. And now it
Yes.
seems like that's a lot more people are starting to really have that connection.
Yes, yes. And that's part of being the solution. When I said we're all being focused on all the problems right now, part of the solution is how do I open myself up? How do I move out of my humanity? How do I find truly what's available to all of us? And that's all of us looking towards the solution.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's everybody coming online to say, I'm willing, I'm here, and I'm willing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it really interesting too that, like, as much as we are so speeding ahead with technology and things like that, we're also now kind of going back to some grassroots things that we used to do. And I find that's very interesting to me, of just how we are being pulled back that way, where, the consciousness is saying, hey, it's time to get back and find these grassroots of what we need and start to rebuild.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you said that because how I see that too. And I love that. And how I have read it energetically is there's always been those pockets of the solution. And it's just again people raising their hand saying like, "Hey, I have it. I have the medicine, I have the solution, I have that." And the more and more people who are stepping up to say, "Yep, I'm here," validates, yes, this works.
Yeah.
Yes, it does work.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's just so crazy to me because I just think about that all the time, and I just, my perception of some things that have been happening, like I'm seeing things a little bit differently now too, and being kind of awoke, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word, of seeing how they're actually coming to us and providing these answers when we start to really open ourselves up.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. If there was something that the librarians would hope that we or whoever's listening would hear, what is something that you think that they would want us to know to do to start getting to that utopia that we could have?
Yeah, absolutely. Their biggest message is don't be afraid of what you see. So many, I think, especially people on the spiritual, on the light worker path, we don't want to see anything bad or dark or scary, and because, yes, you don't want to focus on something and create more of it. But their biggest message is don't be afraid of it. It's being shown to you because you have a solution for it, because you can bring love, you can bring light, you can bring energy, you can be awareness. So don't pretend that it doesn't exist. And
Exactly.
especially within yourself, if you're feeling something, don't pretend it doesn't exist. It's coming up to be healed, it's coming up to be cleared. And how can we, instead of fearing the dark, celebrate it?
Yeah.
Yay, here it is. Now we can fix it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if there's something that you would suggest that people, if they're looking to put it into their spiritual toolkit, what would that be?
Silence, just having some silence at different intervals throughout the day. It's not like
Yes.
you have to start or end in silence, but if you're driving, before you leap out of your car, give yourself just a couple of breaths in silence. You know what I mean? If you're waiting for coffee to brew, if you're waiting for something to cook, don't just grab your phone or start looking around. Consciously just bring yourself into a place of stillness and silence wherever you have the opportunities, because
Right.
that keeps you grounded and connected.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's
It
true.
it does. And then
Yeah.
I think you're doing it with intention too, which is really teaching us to put that intent on what we are doing and how we move through our days. And I think that will start pulling some of us off that hamster wheel because we'll be able to start noticing, oh, what? No, that's not what I actually want to do, right? I want to create this new space and life for myself.
Yeah, yeah. And intention is a great word, especially for those things that we do every single day. Like I wear jewelry just about every single day. I put on rings, earrings. When I put it on, I have the intent of adorning myself because I love myself. You know
Right.
what I mean? Jewelry does adorn us.
Right.
Let's move into that energy of it.
Yeah.
Same thing when I'm eating or drinking. This is nourishing and nurturing me. So I try to eat with the energy of being nourished and nurtured, not just cramming food in or sticking my rings on or why am I showering myself? Why am I doing all these different things? Let's bring that energy of what is designed to do in and just be more conscious of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciating ourselves. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so true. Like it's just I just love that you talked about that because I just it seems to be popping up everywhere and anything I'm reading lately is all about intention and slowing ourselves down and really doing things, whether it's, stirring your morning coffee or like you were saying, getting dressed or putting on our jewelry and really just leaning into that
Yeah.
feeling and finding that space. And you can find silence while you're doing that too, I think, right? You're
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm
Yes.
adorning myself. Oh, this is so beautiful. And create that little bit of a break for
Yeah.
our minds.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. And even the other day, I was on vacation. So, when you come back and your inbox is like overflowing and you're crazy, I came into my office and I was like, ah, and I just stopped and I noticed I am frazzled. Wow. And I just even kind of gave a moment of appreciation for that. I haven't looked at my inbox for 5 days. There could be all these fires burning. I've got all these appointments today. There is no way I'm going to get it done.
Right.
And it was like, instead of letting it spin me out, I was like, I'm just going to stand here for a minute and I'm just going to hold how chaotic this is.
Yes.
And it's fine. Like, it's not like angels sang and everything, change, but it was just, but it's just giving me that reality. I'm acknowledging what is. It's a lot. Wow. I'm not going to get it done. Cool. now I'm centered and I just start my day.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. What will be.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's exactly
And it's
it.
like going to an appointment, you have the appointment, you don't want to really be late. But if you are a minute late, was it the end of the world? No.
Right.
And is it okay? Yes. Because
Yeah.
probably spirit's right there with you anyway, saying you can slow down. It's
Yeah.
okay, right? The only person if you upset the people, again, you didn't mean to. It's just part of
Yeah.
what happened, right? So it's just learning how to slow down, take those breaths, like you said, and relax about life because it's worth relaxing for,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
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 Good
And
for you.
even when it's not okay, it's still okay. Like you get to the appointment, you're late, somebody's mad, they've canceled your appointment, you have to pay your copay anyway. Like, okay, like can I deal with that? Yes. Can this person in front of me manage their own anger? Yes. Like it's do I have is that a bummer with the money? Sure, but do I still have enough abundance to cover it? Absolutely. It's like even when it's not okay, really it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And giving ourselves that grace to know that, right, is such a huge thing.
I think too,
Yeah.
as people say to me sometimes, because I laugh easily, and they'll say, "What do you laugh at some of those things?" And I used to try to apologize for myself for what I was doing, but now I just go because I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like the feeling it gives me
Mhm.
instead of being upset about it, right? Because it
Yeah.
was something silly and it doesn't matter anyways. No, not really.
Right. Right. And laughter is so powerful. It really changes our energy. It changes so much, and it is contagious. So
Yes.
by you laughing easily, you're also giving a gift to other people, whether or not they're laughing with you in the moment. It still changes it.
That's true.
It
That's true.
does. It does. It
Yeah.
breaks up the energy, which is a beautiful thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Laugh at
Yeah.
yourself. That's a tool. That is a
Oh,
tool.
huge tool. Yeah,
Yeah.
huge tool.
Yeah, I remember one time I went to a laughter yoga class and I was like, okay, it kind of seems hokey, but I'm going to go anyways. What an amazing experience and just the contagion of the laughter and the snorting and it was just so
Tears and
much fun.
crying
And
and
I was just like, I love that.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that we all got to share in this, and you just because at first you felt awkward, but then you were just like, oh, I just feel so at home right
Yeah.
here in this. So it's
Yeah.
funny how things happen, but
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And like that phrase you said, feel so at home. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, finding home within yourself. And laughter is one of those things. We feel like other people might judge us. And what if I do snort? Well, when you're comfortable in
Whoops.
yourself, yeah, laughter is hard to control. So
Yeah.
it's a great way to really bring you back home to
Yes.
who you are.
Yes, it absolutely is. Well, this has been so much fun talking to you. I think we could talk to you forever and ever and
Yes.
ever because
Yeah.
it's just so easy and you just have so much information to share with people. So can you also share with the people where to find you, where to find your books, classes that you do, anything like that?
Yeah, thank you. My website is loracheadle.com and it's Lora, which is a simpler way to spell Laura.
Very nice.
Yeah, Loracheadle. If anybody is going through betrayal, whether it's infidelity or any other kind of betrayal, I have a free betrayal recovery guide. You can download it for free at betrayalrecoveryguide.com. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the different places. And as you can tell, I just like conversation. I love connection. So reach out to me anyway. Let's talk, let's play, and let's keep the conversation going.
Lovely.
Wonderful. Yes. Well,
Lovely.
we'd love to have you back on again because I feel like we were just starting to scratch the surface of where we could go with things. So, if you had a final thought to leave with us and our followers, what would it be?
I think my final thought is really in line with what we were saying earlier. It's all good. It really is all good. No matter what you're facing, no matter what you're feeling, it is good. And not to bypass and put a smiley face on it. But it's all good. At the end of the day, it is there for something. It's there for something to notice. It's there for somebody else to come in. And if you can just sit with that awareness that, you know what, everything is working out and it is all good, it helps you get through even the most difficult times.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I do too. Very much.
Well, thank you so much for being on with us today. We really appreciate it. And I know everybody's going to be just like, "Ooh, there's so much information." So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yes.
We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate
Actually, I
it.
want you to mention your books.
Oh yeah, my books. You can
Your
find them
book.
on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, anywhere books are sold.
Okay.
And they're yeah, Flaunt, Drop Your Cover, Reveal Your Smart, Sexy Spiritual Self is the one that's got a lot of spiritual practices, hypnosis, meditation, dealing with the persona, the shadow, the self. That's the real deep one. And then my other one, it's not burnout, it's betrayal, 5 tools to fuel up and thrive. That's more about advocating for yourself in a corporate or in a workspace if you're dealing with, yeah, feeling burned out. But
Okay, that's
I
a good
would
one.
start, yeah, I was
That's a
going to
good
say
one.
it is. It's like the internal and the external. Flaunt is the internal work, and it's not burnout, it's betrayal is the external work.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Very
Like it.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well,
Thank you.
again, thank you so much, Laura. It was just so much fun. And we loved having you on with us.
Yes, it was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
You're very sweet.
And everyone else, we will see you on the next one.
You bet.